Hello learners, welcome to Unfold You, your favorite digital learning platform. I am Meenu Agarwal, your biology subject mentor. Today we will start with another topic, that is life processes. Very interesting topic, right? Now before I start, we should understand certain things. You know, Earth is the only planet which is having life, right? There are living and non-living things present on Earth. How do we differentiate between living and non-living? Let us see, right? Now you see a man shouting at someone, right? Dog is running, or a cow is chewing the cud. What do you call them? You will call them living. What if a man is asleep or dog is asleep? Will you still call them living? We'll look for something. We'll look for movements, breathing movements. If they are doing breathing movements, they are living, right? Now let us take the case of plants. Plants, they grow, they show movements. Plus, they also show some movements in the form of leaves, flowers, etc. Right? Now, but movement alone is not the criteria for deciding whether an organism is living or non-living. Why? Because plants, certain plants, they do not grow, but still they are alive. Right? Some organisms, they breathe, but they do not move. They are still alive. There are some other features which help us to decide what the organisms, whether they are living or non-living. Right? So we will discuss in this chapter what life processes. Before I start with the life processes, let me share one more thing. All living organisms, they are well-organized structures. Well organized means they are made up of tissues, tissues made up of cells, and cells made up of atoms or molecules. If this organization or if this order is going to break down, right, the organisms will no longer be alive. They will be no longer living, right? So what is required for this order to be maintained? Right? They need some repairing and maintaining processes. The repair and maintenance is done by these life processes. Right? Now let us see. All living things, they perform certain life processes like growth, excretion, respiration, circulation, etc. The basic functions performed by living organisms for their survival and body maintenance. Basic functions performed by living organisms for their survival and maintenance are called life processes. So what are life processes? These are the biological processes which are required for maintenance and survival of living organisms, right? The major criteria which is used to decide whether something is alive or not is the movement. So what is the major criteria for deciding whether something is living or not? It is movement. I have discussed earlier, right? Movement in animals is fast and can be observed easily, but the movement in plants is slow and is observed with difficulty. Now I will make one thing more clear here. We are talking about movements in animals. We are talking about movements in plants, right? Movement in animals is also called locomotion because they change position from one place to another. But plants are stationary. They don't locomote. They only move. Move means at their own position there is movement of leaves, flowers and other parts of the plants. Animals can move from one place to another and they can move their body parts also. The plants only move parts of their body such as leaves, flowers, roots and shoots. So what are the life processes? They are the basic functions, they are the basic processes, they are the biological processes which are required for the maintenance of living organisms. So what is the major criteria for deciding whether organism is living or non-living? It is the movement. But movement alone is not the criteria. Along with movement, there are some other features which help us to decide whether organisms are living or non-living, right? So I hope this is clear to you, right? Now, next, let us see the difference in what are the different features which help us to classify living things and non-living things. First of all, they show movement. Living things, they show movement. Non-living things, there may be movement, but still they are not alive, right? They may be some movement, not on their own, but with someone, right? With the assistance of someone, right? Then living things, they show nutrition, means they take in food, but non-living things, there is no nutrition. Now, living things, they show excretion, means they give out the waste from the body, they release the waste from the body. But living things, in non-living things, there is no excretion. Living things, they show growth. What is growth? Irreversible increase in the size of an organism. But here, no growth, right? Living things, they show respiration or some breathing movements. Respiration is the process by which the food is, we will explain it later also, the process by which the food is used to break down, food is broken down in the body to release energy. And the process of taking in oxygen and giving out carbon dioxide is simple breathing. But these movements, these things, respiration or breathing is absent in case of non-living things. Living things, they show reproduce, they produce their own kind. But non-living things, they don't show reproduction, they don't perpetuate, they don't show the production of their own types. There is sensitivity in case of living things. They have sense organs to feel the things. But here, no sensory organs are present in the non-living things. I hope all these points or the differences between non-living and living things are clear to you. Now, the 7 life processes are, we say the life processes are of 7 different types. First of all, movement, as we have discussed, that is changing place or position. Respiration, the process by which the food which is taken in by the organisms is broken down with the help of oxygen to give energy. The process, it is an oxidation. It involves, I would say, oxidation and reduction reactions. It involves oxidation and reduction reactions. So what is happening in respiration? Food plus oxygen are used to give energy. Food is, along with oxygen, it is broken down in the body, it undergoes some chemical reactions, oxidation reduction reactions take place, and energy is released. Sensitivity, they are aware of their surroundings because they have some sense organs. Growth and irreversible, I would say, and irreversible increase in size or number is called the growth, which is present which is a part of life processes. Reproduction, creating their own types, right? Perpetuating the race, continuing the race, that is called as reproduction. Removal of waste, getting rid of the waste materials from the body is called excretion. Now, last of all, nutrition, simply taking in food, and this food is actually carbon-based products. They are actually carbon-based substances which are taken inside the body. They are needed, they are required for building up of the body. That is called as nutrition. I hope the 7 processes are clear to you. What are these? Movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, and nutrition. Right? Now let us again look at more of these types of processes. Now see, this picture represents the various life processes, right? See, this is respiration, right? Respiration is, I told you, oxidation reduction reactions taking place which break down the food to release energy. The food we take through the mouth, that is called as nutrition. That food and oxygen are taken at one place, but they need to be transported, they need to be carried to different parts, and that process by which food and oxygen is taken to the various parts of the body, that is called transportation or circulation. The various anabolic and catabolic constructions and destructions of substances taking place on the body, it is called as metabolism, right? Now, reproduction, giving birth to young ones, reproducing, right? And finally, getting rid of the waste materials is excretion, right? So, this is clear to you, the various life processes. Next, look at the organs involved in various life processes. If we talk of, first of all, what is life processes? It is the maintenance of life in an organism, right? It involves prevention of damage and breakdown, right? All the life processes which are required for maintenance of the living organisms, repair of the living organisms, right? To stop the damages taking place to their body, they are called as life processes, right? Now, what is next? We have nutrition or digestion. This is a mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, various organs involved in the process of digestion, or I would say nutrition, simply breaking down and absorption of nutrients which are necessary for growth and maintenance. Next, respiration, nose, trachea, lungs. These are the organs involved in respiration, simply taking in oxygen, use it in the process of breakdown of the food, that is called as respiration. Then we have transportation. These are the organs, heart, blood vessels and blood, right? So this involves transportation of nutrients, gases, hormones, waste throughout the body, right? Now let me share one thing here. If we talk of two types, we have two types of organisms present, right? We generally talk of unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular organisms are what? Which are made up of single cell, right? Single cell, right? Which is in direct contact with the environment. So simple diffusion, I would say simple diffusion is sufficient, which helps in the exchange of the materials with the environment. But in case of multicellular organisms, which have complex body designs, right? Their body parts are not in direct contact with the environment. So what happens? They don't perform diffusion. Diffusion is not sufficient for the exchange of materials with the environment. So what did they do? They have different systems present in them, which are these systems, that is for the system for digestion, system for respiration, transportation, excretion, etc. So I would say in multicellular organisms, there is division of labor, right? Where multicellular organisms. So these are the different life processes present in the multicellular organisms, right? Then finally, excretion, that is wastage of removal of waste, toxic materials from the body, and these are the various organs like kidneys, ureter, urinary bladder and urethra. I hope these systems and their parts is clear to you. Now let's see nutrition in unicellular and multicellular. As I have already talked, in the case of single cell, means unicellular, single cell, no specific organs are present for taking in food, exchange of gases, removal of waste, because the entire surface is in contact with the environment. They don't have any organs. Right? Why they don't have any organs? Single cell is there, which is in direct contact with the environment. So what is happening here? Only diffusion, which helps to get rid of waste plus help to obtain the nutrition in these organisms, right? In multicellular organisms, all the cells may not be in direct contact with the surrounding. So, simple diffusion will not be complete to meet the requirements of all the cell. Therefore, a transportation system is required for carrying the food and oxygen. So, what is happening in multicellular? This is an important point to note. In unicellular organisms, what is happening? How they are doing all the life processes, how they are carrying out the various processes? By simply diffusion, right? Everything is carried out by the single cell, and diffusion is the process. Diffusion means exchange of gases, exchange of materials from outside environment and the cell, right? That is itself is sufficient to carry out all the life processes. But in case of multicellular organisms, since they are not made up of single cells, cells are not in direct contact with the environment, so diffusion is not sufficient to carry out the various life processes. Their life processes are divided into different types, like we have respiration, we have talked about in the earlier slides, right? Now let's revise. Now let us see what we have learned today. Let us try to recapitulate what we have learned from today's topic. Why diffusion is insufficient to meet the oxygen requirements of multicellular organisms like humans. Diffusion insufficient क्यों है multicellular organisms में? Why? Because I would say they have complex body structures. Secondly, cells are not in direct contact with environment, right? We can quote two reasons here. They have complex body structures and the cells are not in direct contact with the environment. What criteria do we use to decide whether something is alive or not? So we use this criteria, we use this point, like we look for some movements, right? Plus some other features like respiration, growth, reproduction, etc. as we have discussed. What are the outside raw materials used by an organism? Outside raw materials means like what are the outside raw materials they are talking about? They are talking about food and oxygen. What are these used for? किस लिए use होते हैं organism के द्वारा? They are used for providing energy. They are broken down, right? They undergo various chemical reactions in the body, and that process is called respiration, and they give what? Energy to the body. Energy for what? For carrying out various processes. Energy for maintaining of the body, right? What processes would you consider essential for maintaining the life? So we will write all the processes, like we have growth, respiration, transportation, right? Nutrition, right? Then we have excretion, all these processes, right? So these are essential for maintaining the life. I hope this topic is clear to you. Let's start nutrition. Let us define the word nutrition. The process of taking in food and utilizing it for various purposes like running, walking, etc. What is present inside the food which helps to give us energy, which gives us energy? We have nutrients present in the food. Nutrients are classified into 5 categories, which is carbohydrates, right? Proteins, fats, vitamins, and minerals. So, nutrients are actually what? Basically carbon-based substances. Clear? They are what? Carbon-based substances which are classified into 5 categories: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and vitamins. Now, nutrition on the basis of types, we have 2 types of nutrition. One is autotrophic nutrition. Another is heterotrophic nutrition. So we have 2 categories, 2 types of nutrition. Autotrophic means self-nourishment, giving food to themselves. They do not take food from outside, they prepare their own food. All the green plants, right? Blue-green algae. And algae, they show autotrophic mode of nutrition. Now we have 2 types of autotrophic nutrition. One is photoautotroph. Another is chemoautotrophic. Right? Photoautotrophic and chemoautotrophic. Most common type of nutrition which we find in the atmosphere, that is photoautotrophic nutrition. Right? Photo means light. In the presence of sunlight, green plants prepare their food. That is called as photoautotrophic nutrition. And chemoautotrophic is seen in case of some bacteria which use some chemicals to prepare their food. That is called as chemoautotrophic. Then we have heterotrophic. Hetero means something else. Trophic means nutrition. So they get nutrition from outside. They cannot prepare their food. So they get the nutrition from something which is present outside. So that is called as heterotrophic nutrition. We have 3 categories under this: saprophytic, parasitic, and holozoic. Saprophytes are what? Which depend on dead decaying organisms. Parasites are what? Which depend upon another living organisms for their nutrition. What is holozoic mode of nutrition? The process by which the organism takes the whole food inside. For something, they take solid food from something from mouth. That is called as holozoic mode of nutrition. Is that clear? So this is nutrition. So what is happening in autotrophic nutrition? Actually, photosynthesis, I said. So autotrophic nutrition is photosynthesis seen in green plants, right? Let us talk more about autotrophic. What is happening? Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis, it is taking place in the chloroplast of the plants. Chloroplast, they contain actually this pigment which is very important, which is called chlorophyll. With the help of chlorophyll, they trap the sunlight and prepare the food. So what are autotrophs doing? Autotrophs, they convert inorganic raw materials from outside into organic materials. Clear? So this is autotrophic mode of nutrition, right? So let us understand about all these. Now, energy and nutrients. Energy in living organisms. As I have said, nutrition is what? Taking in food. And this food is what? It is based carbohydrates. It is based on carbon compounds, carbon-based compounds. These are carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Fats, carbohydrates, proteins, they undergo these oxidation reduction reactions in the body to give energy. Right? So how living organisms grow? Living organisms, they need energy to grow. They need energy for living and growth. How this is obtained? By breaking down the food. What is food? It is carbon-based compounds. It can be carbohydrates, fats and proteins. Is that clear to you? Now, energy is needed to maintain the state of order in the body, right? Even when we are not doing the work, this energy comes from food what we are eating. So, energy is needed to maintain the order of the living organisms, and this energy is given by the food. Now, mode of nutrition. Actually, it is the method of obtaining the food by the organism. We have two types of nutrition. Autotrophic, we can represent this by equation. 6CO2, 6H2O gives us C6H12O6 plus oxygen, right? Now we need to balance this equation, right? Heterotrophic mode of nutrition, as I've explained, three types: saprophytes, parasites and holozoic. Plus heterotrophs, they are further of three types: herbivores, depending upon what they eat. We have three categories. They can be herbivores, they can be carnivores, or they can be omnivores. So heterotrophs can be further of three types: herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. Now let us further move. Autotrophic mode of nutrition. Autotrophic means self. Trophic means nutrition. Self-nourishment is called as autotrophic mode of nutrition. In this mode of nutrition, organism does not depend on other living organisms for food. It synthesizes its own food by the process of photosynthesis. With the help of light, it prepares the food, that is called as photosynthesis. Those organisms which can make their own food by photosynthesis, they are called as autotrophs. For example, all the green plants plus some algae, blue-green algae, etc. Right? This is clear to you? Next, autotrophic nutrition. Organisms, examples are plants, algae, blue-green bacteria. Right? They do what? Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis means combination of light. What are the raw materials they are using? Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is obtained through stomata. Actually, stomata are the tiny pore-like structures which are present inside the leaf, which helps to obtain the carbon dioxide from the air. Right? Then water. Water is obtained by roots and stems from soil. Now other raw materials are, along with these two, we have chlorophyll, which is present in the chloroplast. Then we have sunlight, which is obtained from the sun. Right? So chlorophyll is very important pigment present in the plants, which helps in photolysis, splitting, right? Which helps in photolysis. Photo means light, lysis means splitting, right? Now what is the equation for photosynthesis? 6 molecules of carbon dioxide combined with 6 molecules of water. What do they give you? C6H12O6. What is it? C6H12O6 plus 6 molecules of oxygen. Now let me explain this equation. What is happening here? What is being used from the atmosphere? What the plants are using? Carbon dioxide. They are taking carbon dioxide from the atmosphere along with water from roots and soil. What they are preparing? Starch, that is carbohydrates, and what is obtained as a byproduct, that is oxygen. And this oxygen is used by animals for various energy giving processes. So what is happening in this photosynthesis? Light energy is being converted into chemical energy. Light energy is being converted into chemical energy. Chemical energy is what? Carbohydrates are being synthesized. What is the role of chlorophyll here? Chlorophyll, which is a very important pigment which is present in the green plants, it traps the sunlight. It traps the sunlight, and that sunlight is used to prepare chemical energy. It traps the sun rays and it causes splitting of water. It causes splitting of water. What it releases? Hydrogen plus. It causes splitting of water and it releases hydrogen plus oxygen. Hydrogen is used for preparation of carbohydrates. Oxygen is obtained as a byproduct. So this step is very important in the process of photosynthesis. We will discuss what steps are taking place in the photosynthesis. First of all, what is happening? Light energy is being trapped by the green plants, and this light energy is trapped by the green plants. It is utilized by chlorophyll. What is the chlorophyll doing? It is causing photolysis of water. It is causing photolysis of water, or I would say splitting of water. What it is releasing? Hydrogen and oxygen. This hydrogen is doing what? Reduction of what? Carbon dioxide to starch. It is changing carbon dioxide into carbohydrates. Is that clear to you? Very important point, right? Now, what are the different factors for autotrophic nutrition? What are the different factors which are helping in autotrophic nutrition? We can also call them raw materials, right? Carbon dioxide, very important. It is obtained through stomata, water obtained from soil, light obtained from sunlight, and some amount of temperature also, which plays the role in autotrophic or photosynthesis, right? That is autotrophic nutrition. Now next, as we have discussed different raw materials for photosynthesis, now no need to repeat it again. Now let us come to what is the site of photosynthesis. Now kitchen of the cell, kitchen of the plant, that is called as the chloroplasts, which are present in the leaf, right? Chloroplasts are mainly found in the green parts of the leaves, right? They are also present in the stomata, guard cells of the stomata, right? Later on, with the help of diagram, I'll show you where the chloroplasts are present. So where the chloroplasts are present? In the green parts of all the leaves, right? They are called kitchen of the cell. And what do they contain? Very important pigment, which is called as chlorophyll. And what type of pigment it is? It is green colored pigment, which is found in all the green plants, right? Now next, what is happening in the plants? Exchange of gases. How this is taking place? Through stomata. What is entering inside the plants? That is carbon dioxide. What is being released? That is oxygen. So what is entering? Which gas is being taken by the plants? That is called as carbon dioxide. And what is removed by the plants or given to the animals? That is called as oxygen. So I would say here, photosynthesis is very important process because it is giving life. It is giving life to all organisms. How life to the organism? Because it is releasing oxygen, and oxygen is very important for survival of all the organisms, right? Or I would say all the animals, they depend on green plants, maybe directly or indirectly, right? They obtain food from the plants, right? Next, sources of raw material, carbon dioxide. In case of land plants, they obtain it from the air. In case of aquatic plants, they obtain it from the water. Water and minerals, they are obtained from the soil, and certain, in case of aquatic plants, they are obtained from the water itself, right? So this is about more points about autotrophic nutrition or photosynthesis, right? Now, very important part here, that is equation we have discussed in the previous slides also. So this is equation which represents the process of photosynthesis. 6 molecules of carbon dioxide combined with 6 molecules of water to give you 1 molecule of sugar and 6 molecules of oxygen. Right? Now let us discuss what is the significance of photosynthesis. What is the significance of photosynthesis? Number 1, all the animals, they get food from green plants. So they depend on plants directly or indirectly for energy, right? It traps sunlight, right? It uses sunlight for the process, and this is transferring the light to other organisms in the form of carbohydrates, right? It helps to maintain the balance. It helps to maintain the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the environment. So it is helping to maintain the balance of gases in the environment. Is that clear? All this, what is the main equation for photosynthesis and what are the various significant points of photosynthesis, right? Now this diagram represents again how the process is taking place. You can see sunlight, light is picked up by chlorophyll, right? What else chlorophyll is taking? Water. It is taking light from sun, it is taking water, it is taking carbon dioxide. What it is preparing? Oxygen and some sugar. Sugar is converted into starch and it is stored as food in various parts of the plant. And we do iodine test to check the presence of sugar in the various parts, right? If we put a drop of iodine, it will turn into dark blue, right? Now what are the various events? This question comes in exams. Often this question is seen in the exam, and we need to learn it by heart. All the 3 steps we have to understand. We have understood in the previous slides also. We'll again understand what these 3 points mean. Now what are the different events taking place during photosynthesis? First of all, what is happening? Absorption of sunlight by chlorophyll, right? What is happening? Absorption of light by chlorophyll. What this chlorophyll is doing? Converting the light energy into chemical energy. What this chlorophyll is doing? Light energy is being converted into chemical energy by splitting the water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. I'll repeat. First of all, what is chloroplast doing? Chloroplast has chlorophyll. It absorbs the sunlight, right? And this sunlight, what it will do? It will cause photolysis. Do not confuse if somewhere this word is used. Photolysis of water, very important point in the process of photosynthesis, right? Sunlight is absorbed by chlorophyll. It carries out photolysis of water, which means splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen converts this light energy into chemical energy, that is formation of carbohydrates, right? And lastly, this reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates, right? Is that clear to you? Absorption of light by chlorophyll, conversion of light energy into chemical energy, splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen, reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Now let me share one thing. Full process of photosynthesis we divide under 2 heads. One is light reaction, another is dark reaction. We study in higher classes, right? So 2 steps are taking place during photosynthesis. Light reaction, which means light absorption plus splitting. 2 steps under this. absorption of sunlight and splitting of water molecules in the presence of sunlight, right? So lastly, dark reaction, that is reduction of reduction of this carbon dioxide to form carbohydrates. So whole process of photosynthesis we study under two heads, light reaction and dark reaction. I hope this much is clear to you, right? So what are the events that take place during photosynthesis? Now this is a cross section of leaf showing various parts of the leaf. So this part is the leaf portion, dissected leaf portion, right, in which you can see these midrib. This is the lamina, this is the vein, this is the vein, and this is the midrib. Now veins and midrib are the sources, are the points through which the water and minerals they move inside the leaf. क्या करती हैं वेन्स और मिडरिब? जो वाटर और या जो भी फूड सब्सटेंसेस हैं बेसिकली ये ट्रांसपोर्ट करती हैं टू द डिफरेंट पार्ट्स ऑफ द लीफ. नाउ दिस इज क्रॉस सेक्शन ऑफ दिस पार्ट इलेबोरेटेड, राइट? क्रॉस सेक्शन इस पार्ट का हमने डिटेल में दिखाया है, राइट? इसमें आपको क्या नजर आ रहा है? अपर पार्ट, दोनों अपर साइड एंड लोअर साइड, इट इज एपिडर्मिस. एपिडर्मिस के ऊपर एक वैक्सी कवरिंग है प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ द लीफ के लिए, एक्सेस ऑफ वाटर लॉस के लिए चेक करता है, चेक्स द एक्सेस लॉस ऑफ वाटर, राइट? एज यू कैन सी दिस वैक्सी क्यूटिकल इज प्रेजेंट एंड एट सर्टेन पॉइंट्स यू कैन सी दिस स्टोमेटा आर प्रेजेंट which is having guard cells. Stomata क्या करते हैं? Check the excess loss of water from the plant, plus they help in the exchange of the gases. एक बात मैं बताऊंगी यहाँ पे कि जो स्टोमेटा होते हैं उनसे वाटर लॉस बार बार होता है प्लांट से, तो जनरली क्या करते हैं स्टोमेटा, दे रिमेन क्लोज्ड. कब खुलते हैं? जब एक्सचेंज ऑफ गैसेस होगा, राइट? तो ये बार बार नहीं खुलते, दे डू नॉट रिमेन ओपन ऑल द टाइम. व्हाई? बिकॉज दे नीड टू चेक द लॉस ऑफ वाटर फ्रॉम द प्लांट्स, right? So this is all parenchyma, right? We have parenchyma here and upper parts elongated cells. This is called palisade parenchyma, and this rounded structures, this is called mesophyll, right? So we have these different cells, and all these cells they have the structures which are called chloroplast. So you can see this is chloroplast, right? So this is the cross section of the leaf which shows the chloroplast and the stomata and how the transport is, what transports the water and minerals to the various parts of the leaf. Right? Now let us talk about stomata in details. Very important part of the plant, that is stomata. What are these? Actually very small pore-like structures, right? They are present on the surface of the leaf. They are present more on the lower surface of the leaf, right? Let me tell you, right? So what is the function of stomata? They help in the exchange of gases, that is they take in carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. They also lose large amount of water in the form of water vapors during transpiration. What is transpiration? Loss of water from the plant in the form of water vapors is called transpiration. So stomata, they lose large amount of water during transpiration. They help in upflow of water, because this is a separate phenomenon, transpiration. I'll discuss a little bit here. Transpiration is what? Aerial loss of water from the aerial parts of the plant. Aerial exposed parts हैं, उनसे जब water loss होता है तो एक water deficit create हो जाता है, water की कमी हो जाती है इन parts में. तो वो parts क्या करते हैं? Adjacent cells से water draw करते हैं, और जब वो cells में खत्म हो जाता है पानी तो वो क्या करते हैं? Adjacent cells. तो एक इस तरह से column सा setup हो जाता जाता है, with the help of which the water rises up into the plant. Or you can say simply compare it with a day-to-day life example also. जैसे बॉटल में हमने क्या लिया है, कोई कोल्ड ड्रिंक ली है, हम उसको स्ट्रॉ डाल के पीना चाहते हैं, तो हम क्या करेंगे, ऊपर से सकिंग एक्शन क्रिएट करेंगे, तभी तो वो वाटर ऊपर आएगा, तभी तो वो कोल्ड ड्रिंक ऊपर आएगी. तो इस तरह से क्या होता है, लीव्स में एक सकिंग एक्शन क्रिएट होता है, एरियल पार्ट से सकिंग एक्शन क्रिएट होता है, जिसकी वजह से वाटर लोअर पार्ट से ऊपर की तरफ राइज करता है. तो स्टोमेटा क्या करते हैं, एक ट्रांसपिरेशन पुल क्रिएट करते हैं. हाउ? बाय लूजिंग द वाटर टू द सराउंडिंग्स, राइट? Now chloroplast, they contain the green pigment which is called chlorophyll, and it has important role to play in the photosynthesis. Where this chloroplast is present? It is present in the guard cells of stomata. Is that clear to you? Now let us see the structure of stomata, right? Now here these are what? Mesophyll, or you can say subsidiary cells also, or you can call them epidermal cells also, one and the same thing, right? They're the surrounding cells, and inside the leaf we find these structures which are called as stomata. You can see these are kidney shaped cells which are called guard cells. They are kidney shaped cells, two kidney shaped cells surrounding a pore which is called stomatal aperture. Again I will explain what is happening here. Stomata में क्या है, एक अंदर एक पोर जैसा स्ट्रक्चर प्रेजेंट है, और इसको हमने क्या कहा, स्टोमेटल अपर्चर. इसके इर्द गिर्द क्या प्रेजेंट है, किडनी शेप्ड सेल्स हैं, जिनको हम क्या कहेंगे, गार्ड सेल्स. और इन गार्ड सेल्स में कहीं कहीं आपको ये डॉट्स नजर आ रहे हैं, ये क्या है, क्लोरोप्लास्ट. क्लोरोप्लास्ट जिनमें क्या होगा, फोटोसिंथेसिस होगी, राइट? सो दिस guard cells, they actually they control the opening and closing of stomata. How do they control the opening and closing of stomata? Actually guard cells, they have thick walls. As you can see, these are the thick walls inside. अंदर की तरफ guard cells की क्या है, thick walls हैं, right? बाहर की तरफ क्या है, thin walls हैं. They have thin walls towards outside and thick walls towards the pore that is inside. Is that clear? Right. Now guard cells क्या करते हैं, जब इनके अंदर वाटर भर जाता है, ये क्या करते हैं, स्वेलिंग हो जाती है, पूरा भर जाएंगे, टर्जिड कहेंगे हम इनको, दे बिकम टर्जिड, और एक प्रेशर क्रिएट होगा वॉल्स के ऊपर, जिसकी वजह से वो बाहर की तरफ खींचेंगी, एंड ये पोर जो है इट विल ओपन अप, राइट? वॉल्स विल stretch and the pore will open. So they will cause, when water enters, it causes the opening of the pores. And when they lose water, what happens? They become thin or they become flaccid, and which causes these guard cells to shrink and close the pore. So when they are turgid, pores open. When they shrink or they become flaccid, the pores they close. I hope this is clear to you. Now one thing I would share here, in case of monocots, guard cells are शेप गार्ड सेल्स की अलग है. हम मोनोकॉट्स की बात करें और डाइकॉट्स की बात करें तो दोनों में गार्ड सेल्स की शेप अलग अलग मिलेगी. गार्ड सेल्स आर डम्बेल shaped like this. So this is guard cells in case of what you say, monocots. But in case of dicots, they are kidney shaped, as you can see in the diagram. I hope it is clear to you. In monocots, they are, किस तरह की शेप है मोनोकॉट्स में, डम्बेल. बट डाइकॉट्स में कैसी शेप है, किडनी शेप्ड गार्ड सेल्स. गार्ड सेल्स में क्या होता है, क्लोरोप्लास्ट. क्लोरोप्लास्ट में क्या होता है, क्लोरोफिल. what does chlorophyll do? It will do the process of photosynthesis. I hope it is clear to you. We will continue with the same topic in the next video. Till then, goodbye.